Shane Frederick. Back the phone, I can't move. Here I go, sing. Bye, Blackbird. Where's somebody waiting for me? Sugar smooth, so she bye, Blackbird. Love when we get love or understanding. Oh, and hard luck stories they all have me. Make my bed and let it like I'm alright.
The Shane Frederick, it is so good to see you here at Mittens Playhouse. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you as well. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, you know, I was here for 2 sets tonight, and you will take a song and you will create this entire atmosphere around the song. You will give it all of these vocal inflections. Your phrasing is impeccable. And you'll always bring a wonderful band. And tell me where that began for you, and secondly, how important is that?
I think the beginning of that is, the root of all of that is, I try to only sing things that I love. So when I sing a song, when, you know, this is my suggestion to anyone, when you're performing, if you can only do, if it's your show, only do the music that you love to do. And then you have to make a decision about what's the story, how you want to do it. So we're talking about arranging, even if it's on the spot. You know, you're thinking about, you have a material, you have a text, a story. I'm a storyteller. You have a story, and you got to figure out how you want to tell that story. And then everything else is like, how do I want to do it? What are all the pieces that, you know, will make this story successful? And so for me, you know, when I'm telling that story, having had done this for a certain number of years, I kind of know where I want to go with it. And then when you get the right musicians together who are listening, we call it having big ears, right? If we all got big ears, we can kind of know where we're all going. And as long as I got that story and you're listening to me and I'm listening to you, we can all react at the same time. And if I move to the right, you got to move to the right. If I move to the left, you know, but that creates the drama, the arc of storytelling. So for me, it's all about that. It's all about telling that story. And if you get some cats, I try to only use cats who I know are listening.
Yeah.
You know? Because there are a lot of cats who just want to play a million things, but they're not listening, and they ain't really saying nothing. And if I know you're listening to me and you appreciate what I'm doing, and I appreciate what you're doing, then we could tell the story together and make a beautiful moment. Because we're trying to make moments. People come out to experience the moment of a song, you know.
And you really did that exceptionally well tonight here at Mittens. And you know, I spent a lot of time in Philadelphia, and one thing I noticed about Philadelphia musicians and Philadelphia performers, that you really bring a presence, a stage presence. And where did that begin for you? Did you establish that in your time living in Philadelphia? Was that something that you learned there, or was that something that you brought to Philadelphia when you first moved there?
For me, that was something that it separates the men from the boys. It separates the adults from the kids. Philly's not an easy win. It is not easy to like get an audience in Philly. I mean, even like traveling touring artists know you got to do your hits in Philly and you got to bring it. Philly is not impressed. Period. Philadelphia is not impressed. And so learning what to do to get the audience told me what I need to do to get the audience. You know, it's you know, and then you see a lot of people who don't do that. They're not successful at doing that because they're not doing the right things. You know, the audience wants you to engage, wants you to tell the story, wants you to get a little dirty, get a little gritty, be vulnerable, and say something that they recognize, you know. The audience wants you to say something that they understand. And if you're giving it all you got and you go crazy and you roll on the floor and all of that, they're going to love it, right? Because then we go back to the Patti LaBelle's. Look at who Philadelphia's produced. And I'm not a native Philadelphian, you know, I'm from North Carolina, but getting my musical sea legs in Philadelphia in different scenes, in the cabaret scene, piano bar scene, in the jazz scene, in this scene, you learn how to connect with the audience, which is really important. And the audience wants you to work. Philadelphia audiences especially, which I think is like the iconic, the pinnacle of the audience. They want you to work. They want to see that you're working to commit to your art form. And then they're like, all right, we with you. But again, the Patti LaBelle's of it all, the Teddy Pendergrass. Like, you think about all the people, I mean, even in jazz, all the jazz greats came through Philly, even if they were not Philadelphian.
That's right.
Like myself, I'm not a Philadelphian, but, Coltrane got a Coltrane house. We know Monk came through Philly. We know Billie Holiday came through Philly. We know Nina Simone came through Philly. We could keep going with that. The Heath brothers.
That's right.
Originating in North Carolina, my home state. There's a legacy of Philadelphia being a place where you got to cut your teeth.
Yeah.
And you got to really be grown.
Yeah. What was your biggest takeaway during your stint in Philadelphia?
I mean, I have to say, I still have a stint. I'm still working that stint out.
Yeah.
It might be longer than a stint. I'm working on repertoire. I'm working out, my specific musical identity, which separates me from everyone else, which is how I end up here at these gigs in New York, a few times a year, and other places that I'm at, because I have a specific musical identity with a specific songbook. I have a story, I have an image, a sound, a musical quality that people realize is specific, because I'm specific. That's time gives you that sometimes. You got to work out your stuff over a period of time to get to that place, I think.
Yeah. Since the last time I saw you here at Mittens, the world really has changed. And tell me what creativity was like for you during the pandemic.
I did, I stretched out. I started doing film scoring, and I started doing other things outside of just singing or playing piano, jazz on a stage. In addition to that, I've still been doing that, but now it's like composing, creating digital music. It's a whole pivot, because now it's like, how can I access the people who want what I have, even when it's not in person? And how can I reach a set of people who don't know that I have what they want?
Yeah.
And so it's like digitizing, Now for me, it's about getting into the whole NFT space. I recorded a whole new album, financed through Bitcoin, that I'm going to give this album to the public, but I'm also going to put it in also through the whole cryptocurrency space as well, because it's full circle for me. It's a different time, it's a different age. I still want to, I'm still do the thing with the CD and give it to,
Right.
grandma, auntie, show up at a jazz club, do that, but also digitizing it.
Yeah.
That's the next level, because we could do this all day, but globalization, global access is the next stage.
You segued into my next question, and that is, what will 2022 look like for E. Shane Frederick?
Yes, sir. You already there. Like I said, I have this album it's in the cut. It's already done. It's mixed. It's ready to go. I've just been strategizing how I want to give it to the public and have the whole package ready so that when I roll it out. I dropped a single a couple weeks ago. The single is entitled Return to Paradise. The album is entitled King. And so I'm just waiting to, I'm about to drop that. It's going to be digital. It's one of those things, probably early spring. That's what's going to be the vibe for that.
Finally, I have to ask you, I saw you here at Mittens twice, and you brought in your band, you fronted the band, but I also saw you in Philadelphia playing with another group. And finally, I wanted to ask you, what's your mindset when you bring in a band, fronting a band, and your mindset when you're featured, or in jazz, they say a side man,
right, or
a feature, as the hip-hop artists call it. Talk about those two differences for me.
Well, so I think the difference is a side man and a feature. So in jazz is full of side men, and there's nothing wrong with being a side man.
That's
but
right.
When you are a feature, when you're brought in to, we need your sauce on top of the thing, which is different than, you are part of the guts of the thing. because every band needs a rhythm section, whatever that looks like. And then if you're bringing anything on top, that's the feature.
Right.
So when I'm brought in to be a feature, I know that they recognize my sauce and they want me to bring all the stuff. And so I'm going to bring all the stuff.
Yeah.
So that's what I try to do. And so I've been featured on a few records that are, one is on Rope-A-Dope Records and one is on Inside Out Records. I'm sorry, Outside In Records. So, I when you're the feature though, it's like I need you to do something to bam.
Exactly.
Which is different than I just need you to hold it down.
Yeah.
So in those moments, thank you.
There you go.
Good to see you, brother. In those moments, I'm just trying to really make sure that I'm on my thing and, I'm stepping in doing a song or two here and there. I might be the reason that there is a show or the showstopper, but that's
Right.
why you brought me in, to like throw a little on top, try to do what I can, and then back out of the,
Exactly.
that's the point, So, and a feature in hip hop, when you bring in someone to spit a little half of a verse.
Right.
When Redman comes in, when Meth comes in, when you get, Puff, when you get whoever, Jay-Z or whoever's hot today.
Exactly.
To do a little hot little 16.
Right.
That's going to up the ante, the power of that record. And so that's the difference. But it's a similarity in jazz as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where can folks find you on your different social media
I'm
platforms?
on everything. V Shane, Shayne, Frederick. Like I said, I got 4 projects out, and I'm working on releasing a 5th one. I'm on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all the stuff. I'm on Apple Music and Tidal and Spotify and all those things, and I'm about to drop this new project out real soon.
B. St. Frederick, it is such a pleasure seeing you here on New Year's Day. You really set my year off just right
I
here
like
at
that.
Men's Playhouse.
Yeah.
And I want to say thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate you.
On piano, Mr. Jonathan Michel on the bass. Right? Mr. Donovan Pope on the drums. Of course, my name is V. Shayne Frederick. We got to get out of here.